It's funny, I came into Washington last night, looked over the memorials, Vietnam Wall, Capitol Hill, so always impressed by here, and then I looked over here, and I said, that's got to be the loneliest job in the world. Yet I said, you know, it's funny, watching television, I've seen most of the presidents, they always seem more exhausted at the end of their tenure than they did in the beginning, but with you look younger every day, and I mean that, so what's the secret? Will you
I haven't been around here very
long. Will you?
Hey, listen, I'm 66, and my hips and my knees feel like it.
But you look refreshed.
Well, I feel good. We've got good people. It's the team spirit. They got a lot of people that are working hard and working with me, and I've been blessed by a couple of things. Knock on wood. Our administration has been clean, and secondly, I'm blessed by strong, independent minds in the cabinet and other high government officials. I think of our drug czar, Bill Bennett, or Bill Riley over in EPA, or John Frohnmeyer at NEA, and so many others.
Well, my mother, her name was Frances Upton. That's how I get my first name. At the age of 16, she actually worked in Macy's in New York City, and was the counter perfume girl at that time, 16 years old. And one day, there was a talent scout from the Ziegfeld Follies who came by and said, you know, you're a very beautiful young woman. He said, would you ever be interested in trying out? My mother said, well, I've never had any show business experience. I'm 16 years old. And he said, well, here's my card, and if you're ever interested, give me a call. So, much against her father's wishes, 2 weeks later, she called him, and the rest is history. 2 years later, she was on Broadway. Every day was a stage play. Every day was an entrance out of something out of Sunset Boulevard. Well, it's really hard to it probably would take 3 films to talk about Bert Bell. He was an individualist. He was a rugged individualist. He lived his life the way he thought it should be lived. One day, he got involved with one of his ex-players and coaches, Lud Ray, and actually, with my mother, with her money, bought the Frankford Yellow Jackets, renamed them the Philadelphia Eagles, and in many cases went on from there. I mean, the whole story of the Eagles, they're the worst team in the league, year in and year out. So he decided that one night at a league meeting that he would push through something he'd been thinking about, which is the first professional draft in any sport.
For 60 or 70,000 people to do this for the Green Bay Packers and the city of Green Bay, it certainly should set an example.
I can remember one time going to a movie with him, which was rare, because he was always working. And we went to see the Pride of the Yankees, the Lou Gehrig story with Gary Cooper. And you know, you always kind of look up to your father, and you think, well, this is somebody bigger than God when you're a little guy. And I remember it at the tearful speech at the end where Gary Cooper replays the speech of Lou Gehrig in Yankee Stadium, and looking up at my father, and there were tears. You couldn't hear him crying, but there were tears coming from both sides of his face. And I said, you know what, that convinced me in many ways. This is a real human being that could get emotional about things, and he was amazing.
Then drills a 15-yard touchdown pass to end Ray Berry.
Pro football came of age with the 1958 championship game. Millions watched, as for the first time an NFL game went to overtime. Bert Bell's inspired marriage of network TV and sudden death secured the future of pro football.
On third down, more blocks, and Amici rockets for the touchdown. The Colts win the greatest game ever played.
Leaving the press box, I encountered Bert Bell and Art Rooney and Janie Bell head on. And I said, Bert, it's been a tremendous day for the league, hasn't it? And he said, in a very paradoxical way, John, old boy, I never thought that I would live long enough to see sudden death.
The old-timers know it, and I hope these guys playing today remember a guy by the name of Bert Bell. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be a millionaire.